Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be building a pergola in The Sims 4, and I'm going to show you the two ways that there are that you can do that. So I find the first one that we're going to do harder, and of course it may be the other way around for you, but you can use whichever of these methods works for you. So I've already done this, but the first thing we're going to do is click Ctrl-Shift-C to bring up the cheats menu at the top here, and you're going to type in testing cheats on and then bb.moveObjects, and those things will allow you to free place some plants later on which we're going to need for decorating the pergola. So let's get on with it. So what we're going to do for the first option is come into the build menu and click on walls, and I'm going to choose the room tool and make just a box because I'm going to try to build a square pergola on this occasion. Now you can actually do whatever shape you want, or of course we've got the octagonal room option here as well, which you can then resize to whichever size and shape you want. So there's lots of options for ways that we can do this. So what you're going to do is once you've got your shape, you're going to copy that and then go up a level and place your second box right on top of the first one. What you are then going to do is go into fences down here, and then we are going to choose the smooth keeper fence, which is base game, and then you're just going to replace these walls with the fence, so that gives you the top shape there. So what we would do next is come back down to the ground floor, and then you can choose your fence that you want for your main bit here, and I am going to choose here the contrast wooden fencing, and then yet again you can just replace that. So what you've got, if you go back up, is a floating roof and your fences down the bottom. So all good so far. So then we can go into columns, and again you can choose whichever column suits your needs. So we've got these ones are quite nice actually, so I'm going to use those, and you can just click copy and place those columns wherever you need them to be. And as usual, you can do any rotating, and this does work for all wall heights as well, so if you need to, you can raise up the columns in the usual way. So the next thing we're going to need to do is to actually open up a way to get into here. So I think for that we're going to need another column, and again you can just place those wherever you like. Now I'm going to leave them a 3 wide entrance here, so then you can just free delete these bits. So there is their entrance, but it still has something to finish it off there, so it just doesn't look unfinished. Let's go back up to the next floor. So now we want to put around a trim. So if you see how these columns are sticking out a bit from the wall fence that we've used here, we can disguise that by using our freezes and trims. And if you go to exterior trims, then you've got your options here, and again you can choose whichever one you like. That one looks just simple enough for me, so I'm just going to use that. Now that one is the high tide exterior trim, and then we are ready to actually create our pergola. So the way of doing this is to go back into fences, and rather than replace fences, we're going to click on place fences by drawing. So we're going to go back to this one that we used earlier, the smooth keeper, and I'm going to put some trellis on. Now there's any design that you want to do, you can do with these. The only thing you can't do is if you go diagonal like this, you cannot go back diagonal the other way. So it's only diagonals one way, but I'm just going to do a simple square design on this one, very traditional, and there we go. So you can see now that we have our design, and if I switch to top view here, you can see exactly what your design is. So that's if you go into the camera mode and then choose top down view on the right hand side there. Then at the moment it doesn't really look like a trellis because we've still got the floors in between. So what we can do is take the sledgehammer and just get rid of all of those, and you can see now already we're able to see the lower floor, and there we are. So you could, if you wanted to, leave it at that, but we can make it a bit more jazzy as well. So first of all, you can come down here and you can raise up your pergola as high as you want to. So give it a little platform then, and if you want to, you can add steps onto that one. Now with this one, we now do clearly need some steps. Let's just use these sturdy stairs, and if it doesn't want to directly go, then you can just place them anywhere you like, rotate them, and then move them to the right spot, and then drag them in place. And then of course, because we're raised up, we can use a bit of a foundation, and because I'm using white, I'm going to use the Love of Lattice foundation here. So that is the first way of building a pergola. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Now the next way of doing this, which is what I find a little bit easier, is going into the walls, and instead of building a room, we're going to place a platform instead. The one that I prefer is an octagonal platform, and then you can build everything else yourself. So again, you can do whichever shape you want with your platform. You can use a square one and adjust it to size. It's entirely up to you. And then that ceiling part is already there, so you don't need to put in the walls first if you don't want to. So I am going to go straight in for those pillars. So this time I'm just using the pillars from Horse Ranch here, which is this strength in lumber column, so very much more rustic looking and a completely different style here. But that's fine. Like I said, you can use whatever style you like. And then again, we're going to go up to the top, and this time we can place these straight there instead of having to place the walls first. Now let's see if I can find one that matches. There we go, that's better. And you can just draw these straight on without the need of placing a room and getting rid of the ceiling above, etc. And again, before we do all of this, let's get the trim in, because otherwise that is going to try and come back all over the place where we don't want it to be. And then we can go back and use these ones just like we did before. And I think I'm going to be a bit more adventurous with this one. And then yet again, we can switch to our top view so you can see what we've got there. Now that's not wanting to go that way because we've got the two diagonals there already. But then yet again, we can go to the sledgehammer and delete all of that. And there we go, one pergola. And again, you can put in fences if you want to, you don't have to, but if you did want to, you can put in things like curtains to make it look a bit more whimsical. For example, I like these triumphant textiles curtains from the movie Hangout kit, which are nice and colourful and floaty as well, so they give a nice effect. So you don't have to have fences all the way around. There we go, that looks rather pretty. And yet again, we can put a flooring in, so whichever flooring you want. Again, I'm going to keep it base game, having just used something that's very much not base game. And then what we can do to make it look extra nice is just cover that top in some plants. So what I would do for this is get some low-lying plants. There's the pansies, there's selenium, but basically any of these low-lying plants would work pretty well. And if you've got some of the additional packs, then there are all sorts of things that are really good that work really well here. So for example, in bushes and shrubs, there's this one called the Granite Falls Blossom, which I find works super well. Now to get these up on the top, you can use BB move objects again, and then you can press Ctrl and 9 to raise them up, or Ctrl and 0 to bring them back down again. But sometimes you don't need to, like I just didn't need to on here. So I'm on the ground floor, and that is letting me put those very nicely. And I would recommend rotating them around a little bit so they don't all look the same. and you can see that's making a nice little spread there, and you can put other bits underneath them just to fill it out a little bit as well. So for example, I have also used these low-lying pale yellow flowers just in amongst these pink ones here, and they do work together pretty well and just makes it look a little bit more natural as well, because you wouldn't get just the flowers up there by themselves. And there we go, you can just keep going with that until you are done. But honestly, I think that looks pretty good there myself. I would be happy with that. So there we have it. You can then decorate however you want, but that is my tutorial on how to build a custom gazebo in The Sims 4. Thanks for watching.